live from New York. It's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Ask Engineer. It's me, Lady Ada Scootin, Scootin Engineering, broadcasting live from downtown Brooklyn. That's where we have the Adafruit factory, manufacturing in the United States. Doing lots of engineering and coding and soldering and tutorializing and even more. But for the next 55-ish minutes, we're going to be talking about hacking and making engineering here at Ask Engineer, where you can even ask questions at the end with me, Mr. Lady Ada. Tell them the code, tell them it's on tonight's show. Let's get right into it.
On tonight's show, the code is Mini Power, 10% off in the Adafruit store all the way up until 11:59 p.m. Unless we change our minds. Maybe we're going to make it 145% off. Maybe it'll be 45% off. Maybe it'll be... It's going to be 10% off. Okay, we'll play JP's product pick of the week this week. Some time traveling news and more. We've got an update for the return of AdaBox where we talk about what is in store for AdaBox now and then AdaBox future. Don't worry, we're still going to do AdaBox. From the mailbag, we have some very relevant, hi, I'm a customer. Here's a cool, interesting thing and cool use of one of our products in a situation that we all probably heard about. Speaking of Tariff Talk, Lady Age is going to talk about tariffs and more. Open source hardware, got some news, 3D printing, maybe if there's time, some rapid render. We got Ion and PI, brought to you by DigiKey. This week it's Panasonic. We got new products, we got top secret. We're going to answer your questions that you can put in Discord, or you can just put them all around the web, just tag us or find us in some way. We store these up all week long, and then we read them here and answer them. But you can also hang out in Discord and ask your questions there. All that and more on, you guessed it, Ask an Engineer. Yay. Okay, Lady Ada, let's kick this off. Codes Mini Power. There's free stuff. It'll change later. There's also same-day shipping before 11 a.m. for Show and Tell. Thank you so much, Noe, for running it this week. Next week is Liz. Desk of Lady Ada. We were doing a bunch of stuff on Sunday involving tariffs and data analysis and more. So we did not have a chance to do Desk of Lady Ada, but it will be returning including the great search as we search for, it's not just time anymore. It's when you can have the energy and the time. Whew, what's going on? And then on Tuesdays, we do JP's product pick of the week. Here is this week's highlight.
It is the TLV 320 DAC 3100. It is an I2S digital amplifier for headphones in particular, stereo headphones, as well as a little mono speaker output there. So this is digital audio coming off your microcontroller, Feather RP2040 plugged in, power ground, I2C and I2S all going to those bottom pins on the TLV 320. And then I have a set of headphones plugged in, which I am miking using a little amplifier mic there. And then I have a little push button to play a sample sound. TLV 320 DAC 3100 I2S headphone and speaker amplifier and breakout? Sure.
Okay, and JP's workshop is tomorrow, Thursdays. And 3D Hangouts was earlier today, Wednesday. Last week was Scott's last deep dive for a while. Tim will be doing it every week. Stop by on Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific. And let's do some time travel news here. Okie dokie. Yep. So here's what's going on. Hope 16 is going to be here. It's, oh boy, did I get the right image? Is it the right image?
Yeah, 2025.
Yeah, okay, great. I was just like, oh no, did I do the wrong thing? So if you have the means, or if you even want to do like a virtual ticket, you can do it. Today is the last day to have 10% of the ticket sales go to the EFF. We bought our ticket and lots going on, and we wanted to make sure that we got in for the end. So August 15th to 17th, you can go to 26.com. You can check it out. The EFF gets 10% of. You could also just donate to the EFF, but
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
that's what you could do now. And like I said, we'll try to get the word out even more. And then let's do some big AdaBox news.
Okay.
All right, return of AdaBox. This is going to be different because it's return of AdaBox, but it's also goodbye to AdaBox in a way that we were doing it before. 4. So let me tell you what we're currently doing, and I do this in a specific way so I can update the AdaBox page. And I also, I'm aware that everyone has like damage out there, and from either Kickstarters or just like the world going on. So I'm pleased to say we're not going to stop doing AdaBox, but here's what we have to do right now. We have AdaBox Classic. That's what we're going to call it. That's what we currently sitting on.
The thing you know and love.
The thing you know and love that we had in the past over the last, I don't know, 7, 8 years, did 4 a year, and there was
like 1 or 2 a year.
Yeah,
and then like now
things,
the kids growing up, I have more time.
and then like things started to change. And one of the things that, like being late on an AdaBox because like there's a delay or there's something, that's one thing, and like keeping people updated. But when there's no parts on planet Earth, or like with the tariff situations happening right now, what I'm worried about, and what we were worried about is it just keeps getting bumped. And although we don't charge until we ship, still there's a lot of things that like we do want to have a way to deal with the current issue. And I guess I'm doing slideware for some of the folks I'm going to talk to who aren't in the electronics community or whatever, some of our partners that we talk to, and even educators or people who are starting their own businesses who want to do a subscription service. So I'm putting this all together. So it's like, how do we get around this? I personally like constraints because Lady Ada is like, hey, here's what it means to try to do an AdaBox in 2025. So it's like, oh boy, that's different than, years ago where we always had something for sure. There was always parts. We would figure out the number of subscribers because we knew that they would subscribe, and then they'd get charged when it ships. And we had to figure out, like, it was 1,000, it was 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. And then we were like, oh, we have to cap it because there's actually a amount of time we need for each one. So we have to figure out, like, how do you get thousands of things to people when you don't know how many you're going to need in advance? Okay, so that's one challenge. That's always been true.
And we've kind of figured that out. Like,
always been true.
I worked that out.
Always been true. Then the other one is like, well, sometimes things change with electronics and there's all sorts of stuff. And there could be a delay. It's like, well, we don't charge until we ship. So like, I think our community would be cool. They would know what we're working on and we would tell them. All right.
Yeah.
And then COVID, and then global part shortage, and then whatever is happening now. And we're not going to blame anyone. Like, there is a lot of fun online that you can have blaming whatever politician is on. We're just like, here's the accurate.
It doesn't actually matter who I blame.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I'm still here.
Time's still going to pass.
Yeah.
So you're not going to, if you want that, go somewhere else. What you're going to hear is like, because we're going to do our tariff talk in a second too. So here's my slides. Basically.
Slides?
Yeah, I got a slide. Everyone talks in slides. So,
okay, you can do your slides.
Yeah, here's the issue. Parts availability uncertainty. Unpredictable supply of AdaBox components. Forecasting future availability remains a challenge. Probably always will be from now on. Let me tell everybody something. It's not going back the way it was ever again. In fact, it's going to get worse before it gets better, and things aren't going to be the same and consistent in the new way for a while. So if you want to do something like a subscription or try to do this, watch us either succeed or fail. We'll tell you, and you'll see it all along the way, because who knows? Pricing and stability. Maintaining stable pricing is difficult. It's impossible. You can't have the same. You can't say it's $60 a quarter, and here's going to be the shipping cost.
Yes, it's completely unpredictable now.
Per hour now. Per hour, it's been different, and then maybe it'll be different per month. Then maybe different per year, and you can get back to something like that. But these are costs. And like, by the way, someone's going to say, "Why don't you just charge a bunch more?" Because that means less people can do it.
But I don't know what the price.
We don't even know what it could be. Yeah,
I don't know.
It could be a lot less.
The thing is that I have to pick the bill of materials in order to book thousands of parts ahead of time. But if I can't predict the price, because by the time I book the parts versus when I get the parts, the price has changed by 150%, plus or minus, that really, really messes up the pricing calculation. Yeah. So, we're a mid-sized company. Like we can't just like reserve inventory. There's a lot of things like we don't have. There's a lot of challenges, which is fun because it's like the video game is on the hard level. So here's the other thing. Tariff chapters. Real-time tariff information is crucial. Tariff fluctuations complicate pricing strategies. Adaptation strategy. Decision to adapt rather than discontinue AdaBox. Yeah, we're not going to stop doing AdaBox. Adding more and more often. We want to do more than 4 a year, and we want to do different things. And then shipping compliance. There's all sorts of things. If you do batteries, if you do just about anything, there's sales tax, there's shipping costs that change, there's tariffs, and we want to add international back. Which you couldn't do because, again,
can't do it.
You can't predict VAT and import costs. It was just so complicated to do with prepaid boxes.
So AdaBox Classic is what we're calling it internally. All of our systems are built around making AdaBox all throughout each quarter, like inventory and the PO system and production and like all this stuff. So we're saying like that AdaBox is how we were doing it, 22 Classic. And then after that, we're going to ask all of our subscribers if they want to continue, they need to sign up with what's going to be the next version of AdaBox. Probably calling it AdaBox Flow, first time we announced it here. And we're calling it AdaBox Flow because it's going to have to go with the flow. There's going to be times where we're like, hey, AdaBox is $75 this time. And the theme is, we can give you a little bit more information. Like it's going to be like a music theme or something. And we have this many. Do you want it or not? We want to have the ability for the subscribers to choose if they want it or not over a certain period of time. And then maybe they wait to the next one. We also didn't want people to squat on the subscriptions and like, so, because we've been dealing with that with like Raspberry Pi stuff and like a lot of our stuff, people will purchase it and they'll hoard it. So we have to have limits on stuff.
Or they'll cancel and it's like, well, we were about to ship it and then they'll re-sign up and it's a lot of work for the support team.
So basically like what's happening is like the world has moved towards a very like digital subscription thing. Like everyone knows about their cable services and there's all sorts of subscription services that are in digital formats that they can do all sorts of things, but we have a physical hard item. It's chunky, it's hard, it's made out of atoms.
Goods.
So we need to make it into a different state of matter. So we're going to pour your AdaBox into pipes into your no. But we need to be it has to be flexible each time we tell you we have an AdaBox ready. So that's what we're doing. So we'll continue to give updates on AdaBox 22, which is coming out, we hope, within the like next 30, 60 days. Sorry we couldn't get it out before the tariff thing. It does, everything impacts something else. Like when you see what happens in one part of how the economies function start to trickle, or like it's hard to like the butterfly effect, whatever it is, tiny things over here have big impacts over there. And like no one has experienced what's about to happen in the next like 15 to 20 days. When there really are shortages. So like that's when things are going to change quite a bit. So AdaBox Flow, look for it soon. But this is a preview of what we're doing. So let us know how you think it could be abused too. That's the other thing. So that is our AdaBox
I mean,
update.
we didn't actually explain how it works, but that's okay.
What?
I don't think we explained how.
No, this is the preview. This is the first time. Yeah.
We still don't know.
We still have to work this out with our team. There's a technical side to this. But the big thing is
send ideas.
Yeah. This is like, hey, like, what do you think of this? You're not going to have 4 times a year. You're going to have like probably like 4+ chances. If you want to purchase AdaBox, that's kind of the big change.
Yeah.
That's summarizer. People can ask questions at the end too. Mm. Okay, that's our little AdaBox update. Stay tuned for more information next week.
Yes.
Mailbag. All right, from the mailbag this week, there was a giant global sort of ish power outage. It's Spain and Portugal, big chunk of part of like Europe. So we're watching this and we're like, and there's interesting theories of what could happen, the way like transmission lines and the way like weather works and all sorts of things. There's oscillations, there's power drops, how power works. Very interesting story. Hasn't been published what's happened yet, but we got a next, we got something that said, oh, there's something that people could do. So we got a thing right away. And it's essentially, hey, everybody, it's dark over here using my Circuit Playground Expresses. So this is from a customer yesterday and into tonight. We lost power in all of Spain. I only have one candle, but a whole bunch of Circuit Playgrounds. So I quickly loaded some flashlight code into them and charged some light bulbs from the remaining power in my laptop, and presto, I had light. Thank you so much. So yeah, last week was Puerto Rico, this week Spain and Portugal. So I don't know, maybe a little preview of what's to come, but do have your electronics handy. You never know when a Circuit Playground Express might be the next thing you reach for during a power outage. Okay, let's do some Tariff Talk, lady. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Tariff Talk. Okay, this week.
Tell me the intro. Intro.
What?
The intro's
moving fast.
I was waiting. That's what I was waiting for. I was just like, whoa.
Moving. We got a lot of stuff to go.
You always tell me shh. And then
yeah, I do.
Intro.
But I didn't have an intro. Well, it was like the Wall Street thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? That was just like the beginning. Now there's like, I want like boats. and like
Okay.
grit
All right. So
and like
some,
men lifting empty boxes.
okay.
Okay. Okay. So kudos. At Adafruit, we do hug reports and bug reports as well. So just like hat tip, I think DigiKey's doing a really good job with getting the information out to their customers. I'm going to point out some other folks who are doing a good job too. Because why only focus on the negative? This is happening. You may as well point out folks that are doing a good job as we all kind of suffer. So DigiKey put together this like, here's everything that's been happening, and they update it. And you can just go to digikey.com and check it out. And if you're buying electronics and you want to know what a free trade zone is, which they have a warehouse that they built. I have a feeling they thought like something could happen. Like the last time there was tariffs and the last time they needed to deal with stuff.
I mean, they had a lot of stock.
Yeah.
They have a lot of inventory, which is really good.
Yeah. In fact, there might be some indicators of what happened in like March-ish. People bought a lot of stuff. That's why there was a blip. Our numbers were a lot higher. And then
For
April.
like 1 week.
Yeah. And then April, it's like, what's going on? So, this has been hitting the news. So check out NPR. A small town grew a big company. Can it weather the tariff blizzard? This is so neat. Good story. NPR did an amazing job. There's photos that I've never seen of DigiKey. So check it out. It's on Adafruit's site. You can just search Adafruit blog, or you can check out any social media thing. There's this story went around. And then when the tariffs hit, the thing I was thinking is like, oh no, we know people that did Kickstarters.
Yeah, they're
well, maybe.
Yeah.
So the thing that I was like, because I just did a Kickstarter like mini talk on our show, which was like, hey, like they're trying to reset hardware expectations because like there's a lot of tragic stories, and that's what people remember. They do remember the good ones, but they also remember like I never got my watch, never got my spy camera. Blah, blah, blah. So for this, if you have a Kickstarter, they now have a thing called the Tariff Manager. So you'll be able to manage the expectations with their customers better through the Kickstarter. So the one that I was thinking about specifically was a particle tachyon, because we participated in that. And that is, this really cool IoT device. It was made in Taiwan. There's only a few places that you could even make something like this on planet Earth. This couldn't be made in the US. So, if someone's like, why don't you just make it in the US? Not possible at this time. Maybe one day. Certainly not possible now. So I was like, I wonder what's going to happen. And then sure enough, there was a backer update. And look at this. Read this roller coaster. You can go to the Kickstarter from Particle, but pre-February, the tariff code was 27.5%. February 1st, it was 10%. February 1st, there was a de minimis thing, and then there was a 10% additional tariffs on March 3rd. Tariff rate was 0. There was a de minimis exemption. April 2nd, Liberation Day, 34% additional tariffs applied to imports from China. And then the de minimis was revoked. 46% applied to Vietnam, 32% to Taiwan. Tariff rate for tachyon went up to 81%. April 9th, it went from 125 to 145. The tachyon tariff rate was 175. April 9th must have been crummy for all of the folks at Particle trying to figure out what's going to happen if the tariff rate is 175. Then April 11th, okay, the tariffs got revoked for smartphones, computers, and other things. Now the tariff rate for the tachyon is 47%. And then the reciprocal tariff for smartphones, computers, and other electronics are fully eliminated. Tachyon tariff rate as of April 12th is 27.5%. Is it a roller coaster? That's what those numbers look like. February, March.
Yeah, it's kind of like that death drop at the end.
Yeah. So
that
that
could still change. I mean, like they haven't shipped quite yet.
So what's happening here? Well, this is what Particle's doing. Very nice. We estimate that the total incremental cost of delivering the tachyon Kickstarter is going to be, maybe $100K. So they say that's most of it's a direct cost of paying for the tariffs. Smaller portion for logistics. They're just going to cover it because they finally know what it might be. They're probably like, we're stuck with this. Like, it's about $100K. Is it worth it to contact every?
I mean, what's like it really is under. There's actually like one of the exemptions that from the big tariffs is cellular phone devices, and it's like, wow, you have a cellular phone device. Like, it's not a cell phone, but it's like a wireless cellular modem computing device, and it's like, congratulations, you like managed to slip in under one of the HTS codes.
And like,
it's not zero, but it's not.
I'm going to try to navigate the following couple sentences without any politics. So there is the CEO of Apple at a political inauguration. I think he's gone to other ones, whatever. Donating money personally to inauguration, having close communications with probably this current administration, everyone is like, it's going to be challenging when we all see Apple getting exemptions, but now there's like kind of some side effects of it. This is kind of a nice thing. But here's the thing though, this is where we're heading towards. It's like, so Particle has to run their business and their life around like luck. Like, what if it wasn't? So that they're at the 172. It will make or break many companies. This is tough.
Yeah, this is like the AdaBox thing. You have to make decisions 6, 8, 12 weeks before you ship. And historically, you could decide that and know what the final cost was going to be, and now you don't.
Yeah. So I'm going to wrap up because we got a lot of stuff ahead here. But this is just like a view of how difficult it is.
But also, I have to tell you another thing. So, like, Particle is a venture-funded company that they can afford to, like, say, like, hey, we're going to just lose $100K on this, and that's fine. Because
they move the money from somewhere else.
It's a development board, and we're trying to get customers, and they can call it marketing, right? But a lot of Kickstarters can't, and it's like if you look at the Kickstarter tariff tool, like it's basically like you can ask people to cover the tariff because usually you're not shipping direct from China. You import it, you pay the tariffs, and you ship from the U.S. because that's how it's a lot cheaper to do that. So you can ask them for the tariff, or basically refund them. So it's going to be interesting to see like our customers. I know like there's a lot of articles about board games. If you go to the customer and say, look, you're going to have to pay another $50 on your $45, $30 thing, how many people are going to say yes and how many people are going to say no, refund me? And then it can be really rough. If like half of them get canceled, that could really affect the Kickstarter. Anyways, we'll see.
So we'll find out soon. So this is what's happening here. And one of the things I don't like is we're starting to approach a time where it's like, okay, so people are like, well, we'll just get around this by like putting zero values. We'll work with the Chinese factories to get around stuff. We'll do all these things. Is that really the type of world that we want to move towards, where everything is not official and everything is like under the radar? Like you can't really run businesses and lives like that. So we're waiting. We're going to see what happens. That's a couple examples. In the maker world right now, there's Particle. They have public things about what they're doing with tariffs.
Yeah.
I got my weekly like DF Robot newsletter, spammy thing. I think I signed up for this. So DF Robot's going another way. They're saying we have 0% tariffs. So they're a Chinese company. We have 0% tariffs because we have a USA warehouse. And I don't know if this is going to work out the way they think it is, because they have to import this stuff in. Maybe they have stock already and they're selling it. But then they have, if you can't find your part, we'll prioritize your request. We'll consolidate in next shipment. It takes about 5 weeks. And then we'll dispatch it for California without adding import duties. They probably can't do that, but I guess they'll find out. Because if you're importing expressive things, and
they're a Chinese company and their goods are made in China. So,
we'll see what happens. There could be
maybe there's some magical way you can do this legally, but I don't quite.
There also could be a play from China where they say to electronics companies that have warehouses in the US that are Chinese, that say, hey, we're going to pay for all of it because this is a trade war. This is a war and people are trying to hurt each other, and this sucks.
There is some tariff that has to be paid by somebody, or you set the value to zero. I mean, I don't
Don't
know
worry.
how this is possible.
We're all going to see a lot of stuff.
There's going to be a lot of weird shit because people try to figure out stuff.
Yeah, so business is forever changed.
It's ironic because it's like every company is now becoming like a Trump company. It's like.
So I was saying in like one of the meetings, I don't like politics aside, I don't like what's happening, which is a lot of like people trying to think of like how to game the system, get around. That shouldn't be the first thought. It should be like, how do we make better products for our customers? Not how do we game systems.
I did not get to spend any of the last 4 weeks working on hardware because I was busy not trying to game the system, just trying to figure out where all my components coming from and like which ones should I like move here and there and finding other sources and like, can I get this power supply elsewhere, canceling this order? Like it was a lot of time not making hardware and products that would sell to companies and customers and would be good for the economy.
And we're all talking about
technology.
More manufacturing in the US. Today I saw, there's going to be like zero taxes on factories that are in the US. Anyways, we're still here and we have our team to pay and grow their careers and livelihoods, our community, which we want to continue to do open source and be a good business and a good cause for them. And we're dealing with this shit. So this is a view of what's going on. And we're not going to give up, but welcome to our constraints. If you just joined us, look at the AdaBox section of the video tonight. Anyways, that's what's going on. Let's do some Python on hardware.
Okay.
Right? Happy birthday, MicroPython. I got to email Damien. I forgot that it was her birthday. This is how busy we are.
Well, usually you email them and then you give them a chunk of cash, but now we do it monthly, so you don't have to.
Yeah. Well, we did a
They're
sponsorship
monthly,
thing. Yeah, I have to look and see if we ever do it. And then
yeah, we do it.
I have to look. We sponsor.
I get the bill every month.
We sponsor on GitHub a bunch of different. I want to see how we continue to do it because we did a one-time payment. Anyways, we try to take care of MicroPython because we're all built on MicroPython. If you do Python on hardware in some way, or at least a lot of the forks and variants are. So I'll get the SparkFun stuff in a minute, but do check out the latest. There is a new Casio with MicroPython programming on it.
It's funny that it's like,
it's still
every
happening.
calculators are coming out with
every calculator because the processes are fast enough. So do check out the newsletter. You'll get all of this, but I did want to talk about kind of, I think is big news because Adafruit started out and SparkFun was kind of like the older sibling. And I saw that they're going full on MicroPython. They have this library thing. They're giving out free stuff with their
There's a really good video.
Celebration of their MicroPython libraries. And then I saw this video. I'm like, this is a great video. I sent it to him. I'm like, hey, and post a newsletter. And then I saw this thing and I'm like, hey, Lamore, like, do you see this like 1984 thing? And she was like, what do you mean? I'm like, it says 1984 on the video on the side. And she's like, what are you talking about? Because we were talking over.
Well, because you were showing me the main video.
I know.
The thumbnail.
And she's like, what? And I go, no, there's a thumbnail. Because I was getting this ready for the show. And I'm just like, do you see this?
What do you think it means?
Well, so when I put the thumbnail in here, I was going to have it go up like this so we could talk about the video and have it like this. But then I'm like, it looked like I was doing a thing about 1984. And so that's why I think if this
looks cool.
If this is an Easter egg, I want the prize.
Oh, you think there's a prize?
I'm going to ask.
And I think the prize is you get to live in 1984. Anyways, it's a very good video. I liked it. It had a lot of.
Anyways, it's a really good video.
Check it out.
Check it out. If you know why there's a 1984 thing on the left-hand corner, let me know.
Cool.
Okay. Anyways, and then a little bit of I'll show it in top secret, but here's a little preview of the CircuitPython
10.
Qbert.
We might be doing the 10
homage.
alpha release soon.
Okay. All that and more in the newsletter daily. We don't spam you. Different website. Okay, let's do some open source hardware, Lady Ada. We have
we can skip guides. We'll do guides next week.
You don't want to do guides?
Yeah, because there's only one.
I have one thing.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so in open source hardware news, I've got two things I want to mention. First up, we got our woman-owned business certificate. It's a woman-owned enterprise, Adafruit.
Yay!
And it's good for a while. This is Mayor Eric Adams. He's currently mayor. This is good till 2030. They did a very intense.
It wasn't nice. We don't have to do it like every year anymore.
I thought we did. They do a pretty intense thing. They want to make sure that
You have to like show up on video.
You're who you say you are. Yeah, you do in person before. And, I will address something that, a couple people were snarky on that social media. So like, why does it matter if you're a woman-owned company or not? Why do you have this thing? Why do you care? Do genders of companies matter? So here's what we think. Probably not going to like the answer. No, it doesn't matter. And like, we don't tap into any of these benefits. And we probably never will. And there's probably no good reason for us to get certified this way other than we can. And show that it's possible. Well, here's the
thing. If I didn't have it, people would be like, well, are you not really the owner?
Yeah.
So now I can prove I'm the owner.
That's come up. That's come up. And I think that when you look at the historical things that state and federal governments have tried to do, when things were not as equal or there wasn't tracking or metrics or ways to tell how things were going, eventually, if you're not measuring something, you can't improve it. So about 40% of businesses are women-owned, but like less than 5% of the business that the state and federal governments put out for quote and get back are from women. So there's a difference. Here's all the businesses. So is it the type of quotes they're asking? Is it the quality? Is it quantity? Is it they're not in these things? Who knows and who cares? But now there's a way to track it. So we're probably the only open source hardware company that's certified as woman-owned. So guess what? Cool, like that's neat. But it doesn't matter. It'd be great if everything was merit. They have to probably track it. We don't have any benefits of doing this other than showing others that it's possible.
Yeah.
We get a certificate we can put on our website.
That's cool.
Anyways, so we think it's neat. Anyways, so This one guy snarks. There's a guy who I like. He writes articles and like normally stuff is like him, and he like singled us out. I'm just like, man, like
What, dude? Like you look on like Nazi websites.
no. There's good writers of stuff sometimes, and then like once in a while, it's like I think people are grifting towards.
Yeah, but everybody's turned into a Nazi.
Everyone's nutty right now. So, anyways,
Okay, learning system.
learning system. We do have the latest here, and it's the Piranha camera, but that's not what I wanted to show. I wanted to show the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, because we don't have a lot of guides this week.
Yeah, I want to show the coolest thing ever. I really like the text versions of websites, and like in the past, I was like, "Oh, hey, Adafruit team, could we ever have like a text version of Adafruit so we can like use links, like the text-based web browser and everything?"
Mm.
And then, of course, we're not gonna. Maybe we will do that one day or something. But Markdown came along, and I wanted to do like a cool guide for young people, like using Markdown to make your own GitHub profile, because I think that's like the new HTML. But AI came along, and all these LLMs, and they devour text.
Yeah.
And so this is in like Learn. We kind of try out new features and things for the rest of the site. So if you just go to any like guide, you'll notice there's a new thing on the side that says text view.
Ding.
Markdown.
Markdown.
So this is a great way for anything to slurp up our Learn guides. This might be a great way to read it instead of going through, maybe it's better
Try
for
single page.
Yeah, single page you can. For single page, if you do single page and then you do text view, and then you've got
it'll be
the
whole thing.
Yeah,
no, it doesn't.
No, this is a short guide.
Oh, it's a short guide. Okay.
Yeah, let me go to a longer guide. Let me go to this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is. Oh, sorry. Boop. Left about. Okay. So I think I have to find out.
No, he still didn't do it. I'll tell him it's a bug.
All pages we have to add, but then but still each page right now you have a text view of it if you want.
Yeah.
So anyways, that is one of the things that we think is kind of neat that you could plug this into an LLM. You can make it.
It's popularized because of LLMs, but it's useful for anytime you want to like parse our learning system and get the data out, but you don't want to like deal with HTML or scraping. You no longer have to. You can just like get the text view.
Yeah.
Which is whatever /llm.md, and then you can navigate that way. You can peruse content.
Yeah.
And we'll probably add it to our product pages soon.
Yeah. So the all feature that'll be updated. If you want to check it out now, each page has its own thing. We have all is like a feature. It doesn't matter the way the LLMs work. They just go follow links. Mm-hmm. But do check that out. If you do something cool with it, let us know. And then on Playgrounds, there was one that I just posted up here that I wanted to just show real quick. If you're an Adafruit IO person, Countdown Complete is finally here. Upgrade actions on IO, how to do math if you want to.
It's just showing off Blockly, which was just launched. Yeah. Which we'll do some guides about.
Okay, let's do some 3D printing. Okay, in 3D printing, we're going to show the video of the Pi Piranha project and then a speed up. And then we'll keep going on the other side. I'll talk a little bit about rapid render and then Ion and BI.
You can build a camera inspired by Nintendo's Piranha plant using Raspberry Pi and 3D printing. A Raspberry Pi camera module is housed inside the head of the Piranha plant, while a Raspberry Pi 5 is hidden inside a warp pipe themed enclosure. On the back of the base is a 4-inch hyperpixel display by Pi Ramoni. Featuring capacitive touch, this is great for controlling the Pi camera so you can set up time lapses and even record video. We were able to capture this time lapse from the new Mario Land in Epic Universe. Get all of the parts and accessories to build this project from the Adafruit shop. Links are in the description. The enclosure parts are 3D printed using PLA filament. The head of the Piranha plant was made using the X1 Carbon multicolor 3D printer from Bamboo Labs. You'll want to add an active cooling fan to the Pi 5 to keep it from overheating. The Raspberry Pi 5 is secured to the 3D printed enclosure. The Pi Ramoni hyperpixel display is seated to the GPIO headers. Get the free CAD files and a full tutorial from the guide at learn.adafruit.com. The top cover snap fits over the enclosure and features vents for keeping the Pi nice and cool. The camera's ribbon cable is hidden inside the Piranha plant stem that snap fits onto the assembled enclosure. The lower half of the head is secured to the stem using machine screws. This also features built-in enclosure designed to house the Pi camera module. The top of the head is secured with additional fasteners. To complete the build, a snap-on collar featuring leaves adds that final touch to the Piranha plant. An optional mount can be fitted below the enclosure for securing it to a camera tripod. We hope this inspires you to build your own Piranha plant themed camera using Raspberry Pi and 3D printing.
Okay, and then this week, I'm not going to do the whole rapid render, but I have here's the speed through of it. So each week we try to find tools that help you get to your 3D print designing faster. Like some of them are AI tools, some of them are other things, some of them are going to be hardware like a scanner. I personally like this one because the end result was pretty good, but along the way you got this two-headed dog. So that's kind of cool. Okay, that is this week, so you can check out the full segment on YouTube and, of course, during 3D Hangouts. Okay, Lady Ada, we're going to say the code's Mini Power. And then we're going to tell folks that it's time for Eye on NPI.
Eye on NPI.
Eye on NPI brought to you by DigiKey. Congratulations, DigiKey. There's Eye on NPI news about Eye on NPI. I have this little thing that notifies me when there is a news article on DigiKey. Because they don't have an RSS feed, but you can sign up. But I actually know this is, I'm in the biz, so I want to, I have one for Mauser, one for Arrow, or DigiKey. So I got this right away. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And we have NPI coming up. So they added 100,000 NPI new product introductions and more than 100 new suppliers in the first quarter of 2025,
including Cookie CAD.
Well, yeah, you know what I'm going to say. So first up, congrats, Mike Slater, Vice President of Global Business DigiKey, Big Inc. But what I wanted to say is I was reading this and then it said the most recent new supplier additions in the first quarter include companies like Cookie CAD. Cookie CAD, I'm like, what's Cookie CAD?
Delicious.
Which produces 3D filament. And they do colors and different materials. So I'm like, hey, Noe and Pedro, have you ever heard of Cookie CAD? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay. I went to Cookie CAD, and you know what they got? They have this really cool glitter filament and pastel filament. And they have this tool that you go and you upload your image and you make a cookie cutter, and then you can print it out and make a cut.
Oh, fun. Perfect for the holidays. Cookie.
And of course, we walk our little kid around and we were singing, if it's good enough for Cookie, it's good enough for me. C is for Cookie. So anyways, congrats.
Congrats, Cookie CAD and DigiKey.
All right. So anyways, this week's Eye on NPI is Panasonic.
Okay, Panasonic. Yes, we've covered them a couple times for their sensors and stuff, but what they're really well known for is their batteries. And this week we're covering their ML and VL series of solderable, rechargeable lithium coin batteries. And these are kind of neat because they have the size benefits of a coin battery, but they're easy to solder. You don't need a holder, and they're rechargeable. So, of course, if you want coin batteries, there's tons of them available on DigiKey in various sizes. The most popular is like the 2032 or the 1220. We use them in a lot of products because, like, if the energy density is quite good. At 2032, it's 3 volts at 250 milliamp hours, which is, enough to run, small electronics for a long time. So you'll see them used in like remote controls and toys and, small portable gadgets where, you don't necessarily want a rechargeable battery, or you're willing to go with a low cost coin battery. One thing that's a little annoying is you have to have holders for them. So like we have a coin cell holder that people can use with their projects if they want to. Again, a small microcontroller, a couple LEDs, maybe. Especially something that doesn't run all the time. It only runs when you press a button. That's why for remote controls, they're pretty common. Little RF beepers, tiles and air tags use a 2032. And they last about a year, and then they're just user replaceable. You can get coin cells like in any grocery store. But for many products recently, if you needed something small, and especially, if you didn't want to have customers have to open it and replace the coin batteries, a lot of companies have moved to using rechargeable lithium polymer cells, especially little packs like these. We have one that's 100 milliamp hour, but you can get them 20 milliamp hour, 10 milliamp hour. I mean, the batteries that are inside your little ear pods, for example, those are rechargeable lithium polymer batteries, and they're like tiny little tubes of like 10, 20 milliamp hours a piece. You have to recharge them kind of often, but they will last a few hours. That said, there are some situations where you may not want a bulky lithium polymer battery, if size is important to you. Oh,
Yeah,
that's different. Okay, sorry. So, what I thought was neat was, Panasonic, who is known for their rechargeable 18650 batteries, are used in EVs and in electric bicycles and like almost every large pack rechargeable electronic device. Like if you open up most EV packs, they're actually 18650s, just like, tab soldered together. They also make this range of much smaller batteries that are lithium rechargeables, and they're about 3 volts, and the capacity is much smaller. So you're seeing here there's like the 2020, which is like kind of like a 2032 size, or there's a 2030 at the bottom. They're like 45, 50 milliamp hours. 12 millimeter diameter is like 7 milliamp hours, but they are rechargeable. There's 2 variants. They're called the ML and VL series. Basically, if it's 20 millimeter diameter, it's going to be the ML, and if it's smaller, it's VL. I think it's just like the size affects the chemistry and how like you can craft the anode and cathode and fit it into the shape. Because again, most coin cells are lithium primary, not secondary rechargeables, and so they have to do a little bit extra work to get it to fit into this small size. They actually manufacture, the data sheets are going to have the coin cells themselves, like not with the tabs attached, and they'll tell you the nominal voltage and capacity, and they also have the discharge curve. So, like your lithium primary coin cells, they will discharge kind of quickly from 3 volts down a little bit. They'll stick around 2.5 nominal, and the discharge, if you look at the top right, it's expecting you to stay at like 120 microamperes. To get the expected capacity, you will want to use very low trickle charging. So this is not for like running something continuously. It is for something like, your tile or your remote or your, little beacon, something that is, or a real-time clock, something that's drawing a very small amount of current, and it'll last for a long time. And then you can see how long it'll last, based on the current consumption. You can get a couple days to like almost a year, depending on your current. They have very low self-discharge. I think it's about 2%. So it's not as good as a lithium primary, but it's better than like a nickel metal hydride. And then this is a 12 millimeter. There are actually a couple different sizes. They actually go even smaller. But this one has 17 milliamp hour capacity. So again, it's about, a fifth of a primary cell. Also, they're expecting you to draw more than, in this case, 25 microamperes. And then there's the tab option. So there's vertical and horizontal. I think obviously if you're buying a lot, they would customize it. There's one that's like super flat. But they're definitely hand solderable. Maybe even wave solderable if you have to. They're not reflowable. I wouldn't put this through the oven, but it's like a post processing state. But still, it's still much easier than soldering a holder and then like having to insert the battery. Where these really shine, I think, would be in real-time clocks. So historically, this is like the first real-time clock that I ever worked with. It was often soldered into PC motherboards or socketed into PC motherboards, and it's something that keeps time, right? So you have your main computer that has power, and it's like powered 80-90% of the time. But when you restart it, or if you have power loss, you still want it to know what time it is. And sometimes there's other settings, right, in the BIOS or something that are kept by the real-time clock. So for that, you would have a small battery inside that would last hopefully like a decade or two. Unfortunately, these are sealed. And so, when you eventually a couple decades later, your old retro computer real-time clock ran out of battery, you'd have to actually desolder or replace this to fix it. But a more common place, you'll see this is say like a GPS unit or like a clock or a watch, something where there's a primary battery for when it's functioning, when the display is on, when people are interacting with it. But then even if the battery dies, like you have a primary lithium polymer, lithium ion cell that's powering your phone, your laptop, your clock, your GPS, if that gets disconnected or like the power is lost, you might not even have enough power left over to trickle charge, keep the real-time clock going. And so having a secondary RTC battery like this one that you top up but will last you like a week or two could have like a much better customer experience. One thing to watch for though is, because this is a rechargeable battery, you do need to recharge it with a proper lithium polymer charger. The BQ25185 is a great one, which I like. But any battery where you can set the output voltage. This one, what's nice about it is you can set the output voltage, because remember, it's not a 4.2, 3.7 lithium polymer, it's a 3 volt. So you have to like look at the data sheet and pick the current to be, whatever, 10, 20 milliamps. You can't charge it too quickly. And also the floating voltage is not going to be 3.7 volts. So like this one, for example, you can adjust both the current and the voltage. Just make sure you do that. Don't just put a resistor and try to trickle charge it. Okay, don't do that. You're not supposed to do that with lithium batteries. And the data sheet says don't do it. Anyways, but if you do have a real-time clock, you don't want to deal with replaceable batteries. You want something that's easier to solder on, and you can recharge it with your built-in battery system because it's going to get power once in a while. You can get these in stock. Note they're lithium, so they will be ground shipped. I think they don't do air shipping for lithium. Lots in stock, lots of variations. I definitely think that if I'm going to do like a real-time, like an enclosed project or like a GPS, this would be a good option, because I think people replacing the coin cell, especially if it's sealed on something, is a total pain in the ass.
Design API?
Okay.
Okay, we're to new products. Before we go over there, though, the code is mini power. Lady Ada,
Okay.
let's kick this off, okay? Okay, first up.
Okay. First up, we actually have two similar products. These are on-off switched USB cables that have both data and power and CC. And so I'll show that on the overhead, because people are like, why is this more expensive?
Why is this but not that?
Well, you can get cheap cables that are like USB-C power cables, and we have them built into some of our wall adapters for like a Raspberry Pi. But we got a request to get something that had, you could plug this into like a USB battery pack or something on your computer. You have a USB client, and you see the data lines are passed through. So I think white and green are data, and then yellow is CC. And so you need that if you want to use this for passing through the power delivery configuration. So even, hold on, let me see if I can hook this up. Hold on. Live demo.
Oh boy.
Live demo. So I've got here, my USB-C wall adapter.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. And I plug in one side here.
Serious business.
Plug in one side here, and I've got this little dummy board. And then this is off right now. If I turn it on, this lights up and you can see it's set to 15 volts. Maybe I'll make it light up. So 15 volts. And there's a little LED that lights up. I took this apart. Obviously, this had a nice case and a cover. But this one is the shorter version. I wanted to open up so people could see the cabling to prove that it's data and power.
Prove it.
And it's nice. Like, it's a good design. And then there's also the longer cable which doesn't have the same button. I don't know why they made one with like a push button and one with a switch. But same thing. It's just 1 meter long. But yeah, the reason these are a little bit more expensive is because they have the data and CC lines coming through. But you want to use this with something like a Sparkle Motion, which might want 12 or 20 volts. Or if you just want something that definitely has power and data, and especially if you want it to work with a MacBook, which requires the PD CC line to be connected, this one will not disappoint. It'll work with any situation.
Okay.
Speaking of USB power delivery, we've stocked these USB-C to DC cables for 5 volts, 9 volts, 12, 15, and 20.
Yeah.
But there's also 28 volts. So likewise, if you look on this wall adapter on the overhead, see how it says 140? And then it's on this little text here, which I don't know if we'll be able to
You can zoom in and you can
I know, but it's
and you can have it you could have it focus on.
Okay, it's just very small text, but I
Yeah,
think
a little bit.
no, it's just fuzzy.
Wait, hold still.
Okay,
Look.
all right, wait, okay, stop. So here, yeah, there is a special case. Like some again, not all output power supplies can do this, but this one can do 28 volts at 5 amps. So if you plug this in and you connect this cable, the only thing is this angle is weird. You can see this says 28 volts. So you can get 28 volts, 5 amps. So, it's designed for laptops, but, if you have a any like motor or like power system that you want to give 28 volts, I thought it'd be kind of handy. And you get 5.5 millimeter outer diameter, 2.1/2.5 millimeter inner diameter. So yeah, and good for up to 5 amps.
Cool.
Okay, 140 watt.
Okay.
Let me readjust this for
Yeah.
more
Sweet.
demoing.
Hello.
Okay, hi. All right, so that goes.
Give me an idea.
USB. It's very USB-C today.
Okay. Next up.
Okay, now we have 2 USB-C power monitors, which I was using to debug all these devices, but I was like, maybe people want them as well. So what's neat about these is it's bidirectional USB-C, so it's for like charging or discharging, so it goes either way. And this one, what I like extra, you didn't get the graphing image.
Is there a graphing image?
There was a graphing image. Yeah, I remember I texted you and I said.
Well, I thought that it was the other thing. So
Okay,
you are right, but
it's not your fault.
No. Here's the thing. You know what? I'm gonna.
Yeah,
We're
we're gonna do it live.
Well, this is one of the benefits of not being AI.
Yeah.
This is all I got.
So you click there,
Okay.
and then it was this one. Yeah.
Oh, weird.
No,
I don't know.
because I texted you yesterday. And I was like, don't forget to add this thing.
I think that's something else.
I think it was just late. Okay, sweet.
You know what?
Who cares?
I know what happened.
What happened?
See how the other one arrived in there? The other image?
Yeah. Oh, it was just like twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I got it.
Okay.
I think I got it as it was.
Now you guys know it's live.
Yeah.
So this one shows you, as you saw before, it does like voltage and current and wattage. Also has a graphing mode, which I thought was like really nice because sometimes you want to see the power as it like goes up and down and stuff, and not just like a instantaneous reading. So this one has a color TFT with graphing mode, which I dig.
Yeah.
And it has like 18,000 other modes. It does like overall wattage usage, like battery, assumption. It can determine like your milliamp hour of your battery. Let me see if I can get into. Okay, so hold on. So I have like that 28 volt power supply plugged into here. So hold on, let me rotate. Great. Good enough. Okay, so I'm gonna get the shine. Okay. So yeah, you can see there's like this cool graph mode.
Yeah.
You can change the language, but hold on, it's like gonna end up in. Yeah, hold on. Do I double click? Do I click and hold? Do I click both? I don't remember. I don't have the manual in front of me.
Yeah.
You can change the language.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Yeah. So off. So yeah, power, like voltage, amperage, wattage, watt hours, and then. But I'll tell you, the thing I really liked about this was the graphing. The graphing was a killer. I loved it, and it like plots every 100 milliseconds, I think.
This is just neat to have on you with your stuff going through it with the graphing mode. That's neat. Put that on like a costume accessory as a belt buckle or something like that. That's cool.
I don't know how to change the language. It's in the manual, but I don't have it.
Okay, well.
Okay, anyways.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, cool.
Start a show tonight besides you later, our team, our customers, our community is, this.
Yes. So we also have, if you don't want the more expensive version, there's a tiny version. It doesn't. This one I actually keep handy all the time because I'm constantly testing USB-C devices, and I'm like, what is the voltage? What's the current? How's it working? Is it in sleep mode or not? And I don't want to pull out like my fancy power monitor. So this one just does one, does basically one display, and it does voltage, current. We use it to, like, for example, test out this selectable USB-C PD device. So it'll work with any USB-C. It'll tell you how much power is drawn, the current. You can actually also get it to give you CPU mode. It has a couple different modes, like where it will sum the wattage. It'll give you like a tracking since it started. So it's like you don't get a graph, but you get like how much power has been used since it got turned on. But I just think it's great for just testing USB-C and verifying like what voltage and how much current. I use it like when I'm charging, like you can charge a device, you can see, is it really getting the high voltage charge and how much current? There's like little cables that tell you the wattage, but this is much more precise. Here's
the thing about this before we end it.
Yeah.
If you're someone who actually ever needs to wait for when a device is charging as a part of if you're busy, right? You have to wait sometimes. So it's if you need to make sure you're charging as fast as possible, this is probably the best and only way.
But it's also like, again, it's like get a single, people are like, well, I have a Pi 5 and all these things connected and like how much current is it drawing? And I'm like, I don't know how much your SSD drive is drawing. So it's like this one, I would say, use this and monitor it, and then you can tell.
It's a very good tool because I kind of feel like...
Because it can do spike detection. It'll tell you like the max
everything's
current.
USB-C and we're all kind of on our own. Like, I don't know if companies are... I don't even know what companies are going to do anymore. Is there really any testing for anything to make sure it's safe and doesn't blow up?
Anyways, I like this. I have it in my computer bag, but I use one on my desk every day because I'm just like, again, constantly testing.
Good for your everyday carry bag.
Every day.
Yeah. Okay, that's new products. Okay, so do you want to do top secret and then questions, or are you out of spoons?
We can do the video and then...
Okay, because this is a longer one because it's Sparkle.
But let's do... Yeah, but we can like speed around the question.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so you're all lucky. We're going to do the questions after we do this top secret segment because we have some cool stuff to show. So the video is 3 minutes long, but so on the other side.
Okay.
And I'll answer some questions in the chat while we're watching it. So here we go, top secrets. Oh, buy something.
Buy something because...
Yeah. Please?
Tariffs.
Okay, cool.
Sucks.
Okay, first have a Sparkle Motion, and then I'll talk about the other stuff.
Okay, Lady Ada, what is this?
We're testing out a board. I'm getting back into some hardware after spending way too many weeks doing tariff math and analysis and dealing with our supply chain. So this is the Sparkle Motion stick. And for folks who remember, I actually started this design kind of back in November. I got, like, during the holiday season, some of these. Well, this had like a little pixel LED NeoPixel thing on the end. And this has like a cheapy Bluetooth chip, and it has like an app that you would use to control it. It's only powered over USB. You can see there's no data lines. And the chip is like BLE only, and then there's a couple modes. There's like a button. But I liked this idea of like a stick. And then I found this USB case that snaps. It's kind of a generic USB case, and it has a button, which I really liked. I like the button.
Designed the PCB around that existing case.
Yeah, so this was like, this was just like me getting the design kind of started, and then trying to get it to fit into the case, and like I screwed up a little bit, and then I realized I had to extend this out like a little bit more, and I tweaked some things. One thing that was actually an interesting tweak, speaking of this, audio reactive mode, is on the original design I put the microphone here. But actually, see how it's really close to the body of the ESP32. This was actually, the mic wasn't working. Like data was coming out, but it was all zeros or very low values. It wasn't reacting to audio. And I think what happened is the flux from the paste on the ESP32, because there's a lot of pads underneath, would leak out and it would clog into the hole. So on this version, I actually put the mic on the opposite side, and it's okay that it's close to the ESP because the hole is, I kind of made a little bit of space. I gave it like a millimeter or two around. And now it's working great.
It was great.
So yeah, what I like is that, we're going to have this low cost translucent case. The ESP is on the bottom. There's a nice, you can even see the ground plane is removed. So a nice big area free of interference. This button. And then, there's an infrared receiver here. There's an onboard LED, power LED, and signal LED if you look up here. So power good LED. This is a signal LED. There's a light pull up on this I have to remove. And a built-in NeoPixel. So you can also use this for, Arduino or CircuitPython or MicroPython work. But of course, it's great for WLED. And this is the GEQ demo, just me testing out that the microphone's working. So, a little bit of a long video, but just wanted to catch up on the multiple designs that we've gone through. But this is ready to go. Gonna book this. Unfortunately, espresso chips are tariff now. So this is going to be a little bit more expensive than used to be. But, using engineering and design, I'm going to try to keep the cost as low as possible. Using an off-the-shelf case helps, right? No 3D printing, no injection molding. So get this into the shop in a couple weeks.
Oh, that said, it's 12:17 p.m., April 29th, 2025. Everything could be different and changed by the time this video is uploaded.
That's true. I haven't checked CNN.
This is not medical advice.
Okay.
Woo doo 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 doo. Okay.
Okay, and then I got it's a little bit more footage. We'll have some more. I'm gonna do a little segment probably next week, so folks can see where we're at with The Great Search, a new video game coming soon from Adafruit. And then here comes a Fruit Jam test. We have this boot up screen that we haven't worked on. So this is our gaming console. We'll be launching around the same time Nintendo Switch is coming out, so we'll be competing now. And then we want to pay tribute to Qbert for CircuitPython 10. So here's a little preview of where the art is at now. You can see we want to be true to the original, but with our characters and more because it's like retro. That's the theme for 10 anyways. Okay, that's top secret. It's question time. It's question time. First up. Okay, ready, Lady Ada?
Yeah.
Okay, this is for the USB MIDI host messenger demo. This is great. Would it be theoretically possible to remove the Gen 5 and make RP2040 appear on a generic USB keyboard to host computer to produce keyboard presses with MIDI keyboard or press? In fact, the RP2040 is backward probably behave like a keyboard device. Has me hopeful, but I'm not certain about how to pull all the pieces together.
Yeah, you can actually use our RP2040 USB feather and just plug. Yeah, you can convert between USB devices very easily. We have a couple demos.
Okay. What's the LED matrix shown in this video? People always ask about this.
Yeah, I actually am tempted to actually make something to sell in the store because it's actually, I got it as like part of a giveaway kit for something and the company doesn't exist.
Every time we show it, everyone's like, I want that.
Yeah. It's great for testing.
Do you guys sell any of these kits?
We sell Pi badges. Yeah, we have them in the store.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, I got the Blue Fruit LED sniffer. Is there any videos on what I can do with it? We
didn't make a video, but I think other people have. But we have a really good guide, and it's like hasn't changed. Like you just use Python, and you can connect a Wireshark to sniff packets.
Next up, thanks for answering my question about dark mode. That inspired another question. I'm excited about Fruit Jam, and wondering if there's any plans for having a device on MakeCode Arcade, or does that require MakeCode to add it? It would require MakeCode to add it. It's just kind of non-trivial. We'll ask them, but they a lot of those people are working on AI now at Microsoft and Microsoft on MakeCode. But we'll see. They do support. I think they support RP2040 eventually. I don't know. It's unclear. The last up can just output 8.5 volts and 5 amps. It cannot do 8.5, but it can do 9 volts. And if you have a USB PD device, it can do 9 volts at 5 amps, which is no reason why it can't. Then yes, you can get 9 volts at 5 amps. You can drop it down with a diode. Questions. All right, good work. Our
Okay.
code is Mini Power. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see everybody next week. This has been an Adafruit production.
Thanks, everybody.
Here is your moment of Zener. Bye, everybody.